That's right.
Yeah.
Yay.
We
It's
did
Greasy
it.
Hour. Greasy time is occurring. The conversation that is greasy. I should tell people the real name of this show. Check it out. You're listening to Greasy Conversation on Radio Vegas Rocks. And if you mention Radio Vegas Rocks to any of our sponsors, they give you extra special gladness officially. And today is Tealet Day. We've got Tealet in the house. We've got okay. Why don't you introduce the Tealet situation?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Elyse Petersen, and I'm the founder of Tealet. And we serve tea and have nice conversations. That's pretty much it. You can call it a tea party. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed that I couldn't think of saying that way, but like one of the cameras disconnected, like right at that point. We don't need it.
Yeah.
There's sometimes there's enough cameras in the world as it is, so that's where we're at.
Oh, there's more than enough.
And
we also have with Tealet,
Kaimudu.
Kaimudu in the house.
Yeah.
Help with the Elyse with Tealet.
I'm tossing some tea in right away.
Oh, nice.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Everyone grab your teas.
Yeah.
And on my tears as well.
Cheers.
Empty cheers.
He can get you.
I had a little
Yeah.
sip.
Jake doesn't talk much, but he'll definitely keep your cup filled.
Dang, that's yummy action.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is
man.
black tea from India called Monsoon Magic to celebrate the monsoon here in Vegas.
That's an awesome coincidence because, there's a monsoon magic tea. That's surprising to me because it's a cool set of words and it's definitely monsoony right now.
Yeah.
We're having hella locust attack. People are calling them grasshoppers. That's also technically correct, but they're not in that phase. They transform into a different like animal or a different state. I forget how it was worded when I was reading about it, but these are what locusts are. They're like a different kind of the same grasshopper, but not in grasshopper mode. They like changed
They're
modes,
not like
kind of.
full maturity or whatever.
Well, I didn't realize they could like just fly. I thought they just could like hover.
Yeah, so when
Yeah,
they're green and they're not, I forget the word where they clump together and like swarm, then they don't usually fly as much. They just hop around.
Right.
Yeah, and it's the same thing whether they're mature or whether they're young. They have these two different states either way. But once they get into this state, it takes them a while to like settle back down into the chilly green hangout mode.
Yeah, they don't like fly very well either.
No.
They just kind of like go out and they're like flopping around in the air and they just like hit something and then land. They're like, that's good enough.
All right, limited edition Koba is already in the chat. We've got
Yeah.
a real show going on.
Oh, yeah.
Hallelujah, it's real.
Yeah, but if anyone, so we're having a little grasshopper apocalypse in Vegas. I guess they like swarmed the strip pretty bad.
Or even like the Luxor light. I saw that photo looked nice.
Yes. Did you see that image? Someone posted a photo of like the
Oh, are they
Luxor
going
light.
nuts in the Luxor
And
light?
there's just
Yeah.
like a horde of them like
Yeah.
flying around the Luxor light.
Yeah.
But there was like pictures of them like all out like swarming the outside of casino doors. And then even on the inside, just a couple feet, there's just like covering the floor of the entrance. Like it's nutty. And I guess at night on the strip, they're pretty bad. Just because
Yeah.
all the lights, obviously.
I have a bunch of videos where they are on parking lot lights. I'm waiting to like hoard them into a music video or something. So stay tuned on Instagram. Okay, so we've got 2 weeks of constipated news that's built up. And also, I kind of wanted to front load tea news first so it doesn't get neglected at the end.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't want you to have
I
tea
mean, don't-
anticipation.
Don't miss out on your opportunity to get the tea news from the top tea source while you have the Tealet in the house. But yeah, we just had the World Tea Expo here in Vegas. That was a big deal. This is like the largest tea show in the world, and it was founded here in Vegas, and it's been here for several years. It went away for a little bit, and it's actually going away again next year to Denver. So that's some sad news for the Vegas tea community. You know, Tealet, we're a software company. We're a software company that provides services to the industry. We're basically an operating platform for the industry when it comes to the entire supply chain. And so it ranges all the way to the producers of the product, and We follow principles of transparency, and this is transparency to like the seed and the soil. Like we want to be able to ask questions about that and have that information carry all the way to the final, consumer.
Mm-hmm.
And so
That's
yeah,
awesome.
our platform right now is a B2B marketplace where tea farmers can list their products, and we import them in bulk and then distribute them to tea businesses, mostly small businesses that care about products and quality. So World Tea Expo was here last month, and Tealet had a booth, so that was really exciting. We made a really pimped out tea party space in the middle of this expo. We had the lush carpet. That was the one home advantage we had, is that I was able to bring in like 5 layers of padding
Oh, nice.
at an affordable rate. Yeah, these companies that do the expos, it's ridiculous how much they charge for carpeting, or they charge for.
Oh yeah, anything. Yeah.
Even if you're bringing
booths.
something in that is too heavy to carry, you have to use a dolly. You have to hire the Teamsters. Yeah, you have to, and you have
for
to
like
pay
everything, right?
for
And
everything.
That's really expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that was like our little hack. We made really soft carpet, and it's like the lotus and the light.
Yeah.
It's like people, they come forward.
comfortable.
But we hosted the after party at our warehouse on
Sweet.
Polaris and Desert Inn, which is where we're located, over near where Area 15 is popping up. And we had a couple hundred people in total come through, mostly from the expo, but we had some local friends. And of course, the party that we hosted there for the after party was the World Tea and Music Festival, which last year when we came into the show, we were telling you guys about.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys came to that festival.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, sitting on some rugs, getting that tea high going.
Yeah, so we did that festival again, but we didn't do too much marketing on it because we wanted to make sure to save room for the expo people, which are tea people from all over the world. This is tea producers, tea traders, tea retailers, tea buyers, even people that are researching tea. So they come for this expo to network with each other, and there's a conference of sorts where there's education and whatnot. But we think it's really important to host the party. Because that's where the real juicy stuff happens, where you can let go and really be vulnerable and talk about where you see the future and what you want to manifest. That's how I run my business. It's kind of cool when you're an entrepreneur. You can do whatever the fuck you want, So
Yeah.
Not only that, but like a platform provider.
Yeah.
You're not just an entrepreneur struggling to do what you can with what platforms are available. You're providing a platform that's a base or a foundation for all these other little companies to thrive.
Yeah.
And then as they thrive, you thrive.
Yeah.
But you don't have to take a cut of what they do besides what they do with the platform.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not pyramid scheming at all.
Yeah, well, and it kind of trips people out, and I'm having a lot of those conversations where we're talking business with each other, and they're expecting that I'm wanting like a percentage of their business, or I'm wanting a cut of what they're doing. And I'm like, nah, maybe if I'm investing a lot of my time into your project, we can talk about consulting, but I'm not trying to own what you're doing. I'm trying to plug into what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's going to keep us independent and accountable for each other. You know
For
what I mean?
sure. Everyone's motivated then.
Yep. So this is a concept I call
really cool model.
Distributed entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have you seen this distributed entrepreneurship model function before this?
No.
Have you seen it since? Other things that have come together like this?
No, and I'm even
it's a really unique way of putting it together.
Yeah. Well, you know why? I'm a lady, so that changes things. And a lot of people that have the privilege that I have, of investors and of influence. It's mostly, different perspectives. I'm like female hippie. Like that's a very unique perspective.
Also, you have a huge library of knowledge of food preservation and history of tea. Like just your credentials and just your studying, straight up, college education and food stuff is impressive enough for this title, even if it wasn't so tea specific too.
Yeah. Well, and this is not just about tea. What I'm trying to build is the Alibaba for the food industry. So, This is actually
Nice.
my first year. I'm diversifying into other verticals. So Ayurvedic
No
herbs. Yeah.
way.
So turmeric, ginger, tulsi, cardamom, cinnamon, chamomile, butterfly pea, like all of these like cool little organic products that I find when I go traveling. I've gotten to a point of influence on the market side where I can fill a shipping container full of flowers and know the person that's going to want to buy it. So, I really just want to bring this concept of transparency and accountability to how we do all types of business. And I think it's appropriate we start with food because there's a lot of people involved with it and there's a lot of stuff at stake. And we're going to need food. Like, that's one thing that we can't, lose
for
the
sure.
luxury of,
I have to say, everyone needs food. Amazon started with books, and they have kind of gone to everything in a way, but there everything doesn't have the same kind of quality control at all. And to trust, say if I'm a fancy restaurant and I want to have a specific dish that's really unique, and it depends on some of these unique herbs that I know I'm not going to get the quality control from some unnamed, rebranded, generic, white label situation on Amazon. With this kind of vetting and this kind of network, it's like a perfect way to bring niche foods like a reliable way.
Yeah, well, and I was inspired, like, when I was a food scientist and working in the food industry, I was, like, every year getting a new job into an industry that I thought would be better, like, more food, like, more food-like. Like, the industries I was working in, like, they felt more like chemicals, or they felt more like
As you're talking, I'm going to move the
versus,
camera.
like, organic food. And so then I started working for companies that make products for, like, Whole Foods and did their organic certification. Oh, yeah, we're going to make some matcha here.
Interesting. I have to show it.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about this object?
Yeah, so this is a bamboo whisk that's used for whisking the matcha here that we'll be drinking. So matcha is powdered green tea from Japan. And it's very specific how you have to make the matcha. This is a ceremonial grade matcha. It has to come from the first flush, which is like the spring harvest. It's the first harvest of the season after the cold winter. And so you see the powder.
I feel like the camera's going to sneeze into it.
Oh, yeah. Get some green boogers.
Like if I was as close as the camera is right now. They can't hear me.
Yeah, you don't want to be getting matcha into your nose. I have a friend that, thought would, he thought it would be cool, and ended up being very painful. So that's my TPSA of the evening is.
It always is
don't
interesting
snort matcha.
to me when people want to snort things that obviously aren't for that. Like, not many things are.
Yeah.
And,
So this thing is made from one single piece of bamboo, and it's just like cut into all these like little pieces.
Oh.
It's like artisanal, and this is like a real handcrafted one. Like the ones that you see at like the tea shop that you go to, like there's no way these things cost like $60. They're
How
not
would you
cheap.
guys describe this whisk to audio listeners right now? Because I see like these tiny bamboo fingers on the outside that come inward, and then a middle stalk with fingers that go outward, and it just generally looks like a jellyfish mouth. Right?
You've seen a jellyfish mouth?
Well,
octopus mouth.
Octopus mouth, yeah.
jellyfish have the central fella, and they're like transparent, so a lot of times you can see
they?
their inner fish dissolver pocket, which is the mouth of the jellyfish. Just the
Like
fish
that? Like if it was a
dissolver
green
pocket.
jellyfish?
Yeah, and the fish gets stuck in there, and then they just melt. We've got jellyfish news today, actually.
Oh, that's fun.
There was a jellyfish that is as big as a person floating around, a barrel jelly. And I mainly just want to bring it up to show the pictures. There's not a lot to talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's just cool. And I think it's always interesting when we find like giant creatures in the ocean.
Yeah, the idea of cool animals and cool animal pictures being a part of this show, I feel like has naturally happened. Like, what's with the animal news? What are the animals up to?
All right, so I got the final product here. You guys want to see how lovely this
It's got a nice froth. Could I have
beautiful
you do me a favor and
Yeah.
just aim that at the camera real quick?
Hi, camera. Let's see.
Here's the jellyfish too.
You want to see the jellyfish?
That's a good froth. Yeah, alrighty.
Nice.
I showed them both at once, so we
All
can
right.
keep trucking efficiently.
Okay, well, we can now officially call your listeners matcha connoisseurs because, I mean, that's all you need to.
That's all you need to know
That's
about
all
the
you need to
matcha.
know. Well, no, there's a lot to know about matcha, but we need to sit here for some hours. But
Yeah, that's what I mean. It seems very specific, and even like how you have to brew it or whisk it.
yeah,
You know.
Yeah, there's
Well,
techniques.
too
Yeah.
high a temperature and you destroy the antioxidants, right? Because I've heard that.
no, that's
Is
not,
that a myth?
That's not really true.
Ooh, okay. So I
Yeah.
can burn that crap.
We're was it something that's been bothering you?
I'm worried. Am I doing it too hot? I'm destroying the gladness.
No, yeah, you
Well,
can
I
actually
think
make
just-
matcha with hot water and it
Right.
dissolves the powder
Right.
easier.
But I was
but-
afraid if it was like too hot of water. Like
Yeah, yeah.
course, yeah.
I
I
don't
like
think you're
that baby
gonna-
mouth hot, like child temp at Starbucks.
Well, so that's for comfort level. Then
Okay.
and that's advisable, and that's what I did here. I let
Nice.
the water cool down a bit, so that when I do pour it into your cup, which do you have an empty cup?
I do.
This one's gonna be empty in a sec. Because
All
this,
right.
could you tell me a little bit about the tea this orange tea that was already in here that I find quite chuggable?
This is the monsoon magic. It's monsoon season.
Oh, that's
of
right. I
course.
forgot. It throws down like a monsoon. It's a gulpy one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
delicious. Tastes really tasty. All these teas. If you guys haven't like just delved into the tea world, there's some really, really delicious teas.
There are, and if you're in Vegas, you're very lucky because we have a lot of great tea here, and some more updates and local tea news. We just got a program started at the Writer's Block. They have a cafe in the Writer's Block. Have you been to the new Writer's Block? The cool
No.
bookstore. It's on 6th and Bonneville. Yeah, really nice
Think
building.
maybe.
They got a cafe doing good espresso and coffees, and they've got some matcha there, and so does Makers and Finders downtown and
Nice.
up in Centennial Hills. Aware Coffee. Yeah, we're getting a Sunrise Coffee. So if you ever visit there, they're having good matcha now too. So slowly, we're getting people woke and aware of what's going on with the good tea.
It's lucky because it wasn't always like that. There
No,
was a
it wasn't.
time, this is probably about 10 years ago, maybe 11 or 12, and I was trying to find matcha green tea with help of someone I was with at the time. I tracked down some hole-in-the-wall place that was also like a Asian grocery store of sorts.
Sweet.
And we're asking about the matcha. We're like, do you have that thin green powder, just the super fine green powder matcha tea? And it felt like a drug deal.
Yeah.
And then the guy went in the back and brought out this silver baggie that this was before I had seen silver food service bags. It's kind of common now to seal in a silver bag for boutique things to keep them really fresh. But this is the first time I saw something sealed that way. And he put it in her hand and it was $600 or something. And we're like,
Wow.
this can't be a legal substance. There's no way that we're dealing with. So we thought we're calling it the wrong thing or something.
Yeah.
It was years later before it was a known thing, the matcha.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to give one of the dogs some matcha. This is a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Calm the dog down. So yeah, with the matcha, you're gonna get the caffeine, but you also get L-theanine. L-theanine is an amino acid that causes mental focus and body relaxation, which is why we'll find the conversations getting very smart.
Is
and
that one of the
elevated.
ones that's a precursor to serotonin, like 5-HTP? Because I hear L-theanine and 5-HTP mentioned a lot as going well together.
Yeah.
So especially if you're recovering from a hallucinogen, so those of you that have recently tripped, then toss in some L-theanine and some 5-HTP. 5-HTP is a ridiculously expensive supplement too. So to get L-theanine somewhere else, because it's actually hard to find pills with L-theanine. I don't think it absorbs well. I only see it in certain foods, and it's not a lot of them.
It's only in Camellia sinensis, which is the plant that is made tea is made from. So it's the only edible source. There is an inedible mushroom that contains theanine, but it's inedible, or maybe it is. I don't know. We should try it out. I
Maybe it
don't-
just has to be prepared right.
Yeah.
and a tea, right?
All right, I'm going into Matcha Town now.
Okay. All right.
I've moved out of Monsoon Land to Matcha Village.
Yeah. So you might feel an immediate amount of energy, but it's calming, and it'll like calm your stomach and make you feel good. And
I haven't had any caffeine today. I've had like a normal amount of food, the proper amount of time away. I've like prepared my setting for this tree situation. This
good. That was smart.
tea tree situation. Just I misspelled. I love when I say the wrong word and I just make it seem like it was the word I meant to say. Like tea and tree, those are pretty interchangeable. Oh my goodness! Say hi to Carrie, everybody.
Hi, Carrie.
Hey, Carrie.
No matcha in the nose. He reminds us. Thank you.
Oh, wait. Carrie,
Cohort.
Cohort, yeah.
Oh, good.
Totally.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, Carrie.
Yeah, Kaimu and I know him from music circles.
Yeah.
He had an awesome show on the local radio station, Future Sound.
Oh, Future Sounds, yeah. Of course.
Yeah. He just recently did some cool, relaxy, yet really interesting music that I highly recommend checking out. Check out Carrie Cohort. I'm sure through Facebook channel time you can find his sweet tunes. And, well, why don't we dive into, like, a piece of news now? Oh, wait, it's actually bill pay time. It's time to, pay some bills, some S. Faulkners. What was the other one? Some S. Preston Esquires.
Some Bob Thorntons.
Some Bob Thorntons. We're going to do all these. The S. Preston Esquire. Holler in the chat if you get the rest of that one. What I'm saying with that. Because that's a cool...
Another night of drinking, and I'm feeling so low.
Get it, Ken? This is Ken from the Altogether's.
Another night of drinking, I got
Altogether's. I said it really fast. Anyway. Zip Fizz. I encourage it.
Maybe I drank too much whiskey, beer, and such. Need a little shot of Hangover Joe's. Now you see me moving and my feet ain't dragging the floor. Feeling pretty good and my head ain't pounding no more. Happens all the time, and the only thing saving my life is a little red and yellow shot called Hangover Joe's. Hey folks, this is Ken from the Altogether's. We tend to drink a lot at our shows. Actually, we drink a lot everywhere. Hell, I'm drunk right now. Sometimes I get tanked just so I can drink Hangover Joe's. Now, while you should drink responsibly, things do tend to get out of hand from time to time, and that's why you should get Hangover Joe's right now while you're sober. Now, if you excuse me, I got a song to finish, so I can go get drunk. Happens all the time, and the only thing saving my life is a little red and yellow shot called Hangover Joe's. A little red and yellow shot called Hangover Joe's.
Cold Cock American Herbal Whiskey. Enjoy responsibly.
All right, Dix. I told you to register for the free Aerosmith tickets by clicking on the link for the Radio Vegas Rocks app and then simply register your name and phone number under the VIP tab. To punish you, Dix, I'm going to play Janie's Got a Gun on my hand flute while I explain again how great this contest through Radio Vegas Rocks truly is. This is free airfare, free hotel accommodations, and 2 VIP tickets on the actual stage. You're on the stage watching Aerosmith play. If one of you dicks win these tickets and you have no one to go with, I'll go with you. I would love to see if Aerosmith on stage turtle, even if you win. As long as you promise you don't roofie my drink, you don't have sex with my dead corpse. Hopefully he doesn't make my skin into some sort of apparatus he wears around his face. I'll even stay with you. All you have to do is download the Radio Vegas Rocks app and register under the VIP tab of the app to win.
Download the Radio Vegas Rocks app right now.
Hello, everybody. This is DJ Fade from Faded and Elevated, and I am so excited to talk to you guys about Deluxe Cleaning Service. Yeah, that's right. Miss Blanca Lopez, she is the cat's meow, y'all. She comes to your house. She comes to your office. She comes wherever you need her to go, and she cleans that sucker up like it's never been cleaned before. Yeah, that's right. She will come absolutely anywhere. Wherever you need her, she's there to keep you clean in the deluxe way.
Yeah, there we go. It's best when you make celebration sounds as you're unmuting because everyone can hear the fun clickings then. Yay. Awesome. What? Okay, welcome back. It's Greasy Conversation, the talk show on RadioVegas.rocks. There's like an extra sound.
That's the kettle.
Oh, it's just the kettle?
Yeah, we got the kettle. It's a tea party.
Awesome. I took the headphones off for a second. I'd hear that it's something literally in the room. Your kettle just sounds totally like a channel dying on the mixer.
Yeah, it does
But like
sound
softly.
like that. Yeah.
It's honestly, I was thinking, it's not that, it's kind of peaceful. I was just going to leave it. Like maybe this mixer broke in a peaceful way. It's pleasant. Oh, Ange Kerfoot. She noticed that it's Ken Osborne on the Hangover Joe's ad too. Hell yeah. Shout out to her. If you guys don't already know, we just pre-released an album that you can be one of the exclusive people to get on Bandcamp before we put it on Spotify and iTunes. We're staggering it like that, and it's called Into the Whatever. DJ Fade, who you heard from her Faded and Elevated show on the commercial 2 commercials ago. No, it was the previous commercial. She's been playing some stuff from that album. There's been a whole community thing going on. Join the community at radiovegas.rocks and talk with your friends about what a cool little group of hangout broadcast situation time we've got for you. Because the shows on this station now are the best they've ever been. I don't want to offend anybody by leaving anyone out, but I have to mention Pulsar has been playing some amazing underground stuff that's at that top tier level. That's the kind of music you want to listen to if you're just bored with the music that you think just isn't being made anymore. Pulsar show you where it's being made from all around the world. A great variety of male and female artists too. It's just a balanced set that he puts together. If you want to find out when that show is on, go to radiovegas.rocks, check out the schedule page. Look out for Freakmaster Shannon, who you think is going to play all these biker jams and then surprises you with some sick soul school and amazing funk also, and a real eclectic, cool, almost like a throwback version of DJ Fade's show, which has some cool electronic and rock adjacent things as well to the usual rock that we often have on this station. And of course, the rock and comedy show, the flagship, that if you're listening on the station, you probably already know. Casey Jetson, one of the co-hosts of rock and comedy shows, hollering in the Into Whatever, that album Ange and I made. He's giving it the freaking great on the chat. Thank you so much. And honestly, there's a lot of cool shows here that I didn't even mention yet. If you check out all the ones that are live, you're going to find your flavors right here. And we'll see you there. And anyway, back to tea time, tea and weird animals. But what's the crazy news that you've got next, Greg?
We have a ton of news because we have 2 weeks. There's one particular one I wanted to find just because this. All right.
I'm so revved up on the matcha for this. I'm matcha.
I know. The tea's starting to kick in for sure. So these, I guess this happened in Barcelona, Spain. We all know that smuggling drugs is it's a constant battle with the authorities, and that as soon as the authorities find a way to combat, the newest smuggling techniques, the smugglers are always like one-upping and
yeah, they always got a new trick
to smuggle drugs wherever they're going to do that. So in this Barcelona airport, this dude tried to smuggle it under his toupee. And if you can find the picture, it's hilarious because it's just so obvious that he has a big something under his toupee.
Oh no! We're going full screen on this action. Look at this.
Just like, it's just so great. And then the picture without the toupee is like, it's just too classic, man.
Oh my gosh. Who would think that you wouldn't be questioned about that hair situation?
I mean, in all fairness, maybe he just like woke up from a really long coma and wasn't like up to speed on on the drug war, you know?
I love that they made him take a picture of the bag of drugs without the toupee on his head, or just this big, like, jellyfish on his head.
That's
It's
like
all
the
shiny.
best part to me. They're just like so silly.
Oh, this is great.
Just like going through customs. You have anything to declare, sir? Nope. Just adjusting my toupee.
When
Nothing under here.
I was in the Peace Corps in the Caribbean, I came back to the States for my cousin's wedding, and I wanted to get my hair done really nice for the wedding. So I got all these braids, like 300 braids, and then they put the braids into like an updo, and there was just tons of these pins to keep it in. And then the next day I go, to the airport, and the woman, letting me through, and the metal detector is just going crazy because all these pins. She knew the pain that I would have gone through to open my hair so that she could, let me go through. And so, yeah, she just waved me through, and I was thinking, wow, that's pretty incredible. But yeah.
Probably wouldn't like happen nowadays.
Yeah, she'd make me pull it all down, and that'd be, oh my gosh. I think I sat for 9 hours to get that job done.
Yeah.
She understood the pain. She knew that it wouldn't have been cool to ask me to take it down.
Yeah. Damn.
It's not a similar pain when you just like do boxer briefs. You just have like baggies of like Molly or something in that weird crotch pocket they have.
Yeah.
There's not the same kind of sympathy with that, I don't think. Not that I've seen that fail. Just a pro tip. I don't know. You guys, that was worth that sound.
Yeah. And this is...
If you're going to have a takeaway, we're big on those takeaways.
Yes.
Those little knowledge pockets to share with your friends and family. Mm-hmm. Grandma, you got to get some boxer briefs and there's a little pocket in there.
I need you to help me out, Grandma. All right, so...
All right, who's
if
next?
you've been listening the last couple weeks, I've really been getting fond of my meth news.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's
there's
a regular segment.
And there's a lot of it. I don't know. I didn't know there was so much meth news until I dove down this rabbit hole.
But this one is a particularly good one.
Yeah, so it's in Tennessee. In Tennessee, police warn that flushing drugs down the toilet could create meth gators. So
this graphic they got too, like there's what looks like a year's supply of meth in this bag in front of this gator, and the gator's just like sniffing it, just all tempted.
yeah, and basically it's just an article about like the sewer processing and like how, it's generally pretty good, but it's not really prepared to like separate meth from the water. So.
Well, isn't half the ocean on antidepressants now because it just goes through our urine and makes all the whales depressed? Like all the
it's
whales
in a lot of
complacent?
like water sources, like lots of drugs, whether it's like prescription drugs or cocaine or meth, like it's all over in all our water supplies. Like everything we do is just like in the ocean.
That's why the frogs,
really
you can just
depressing.
pick them up really easy right now because they're just all complacent and they're just like, everything's fine. Everything's good enough. I'm not upset. They're just like their usual bipolar hopping around. They're just like, whatever. Just
they
pick
just
me
shrug
up.
now.
Whatever. Yeah. Shrugging frogs. There's a frog shrugs epidemic.
No, it's like that. What was that? The old Warner Brothers frog that did the dancing.
Yeah.
When no one, only to that one guy when no one was looking. But every other time he just looked like a serial depressed frog. Just, yeah, they're like that now, thanks to humans. Thanks,
I mean, is there a big problem with flushing meth down toilets? And
Apparently. Only in Tennessee, though. Apparently.
Tennessee is the first to take proactive measures. Here in Nevada, we're letting all the scorpions and black widows and stuff just get methed out. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, who's flushing it? Like, that's what I'm like. People that possess meth, I don't think they want to be really.
But they could be, like, get in a really paranoid phase.
Yeah.
And think that, like, anytime there's a knock on the door that it's, like, the FBI or something, Like, the helicopters are landing on the roof and we gotta flush them.
That's a really bad side effect.
Yeah. Yeah. It's terrible drug. No one do it. You don't want to just, like, think that
You're going to waste a lot of money.
Yeah. And, just generally bad. Don't recommend it.
It lends itself into making you want to throw it in the toilet. There's always a phase where that's a thing that you do.
Yeah, which that's like the only fortunate side effect of it, I think.
Yeah. It's weird to have something like hijacked hijack your want of it so much that a part of you can so dislike it and want to get rid of it so much that you throw it in the toilet, and yet there'd be another part of you that would be so hijacked to want it to get it to throw it in the toilet in the first place. So it's a weird oscillation there. Anyway, on that sad note, what's some other weird stuff going?
All right, this one, as hard as this may be to believe, this seems to be an almost weekly occurrence that I find one of these articles. This one is some vlogger in China dies while streaming after eating a gecko and a centipede.
Oh.
On the stream. And when police found his body, like the computer was still live streaming.
Oh man.
Like 2 days later, it was just left on. All right, so
how bad was his audience that
no one warned him?
that no one saw him die on the stream and let the police know? Like, was there really no one watching the stream? Because it seems pretty sensational. You'd think it'd get some views, and that one of those people watching would be like, "Hey, there's nothing happening on this stream anymore. It's getting pretty slow."
Yeah, maybe one of them
dude's
is
not eating anything anymore. We should let.
Yeah. So just PSA: don't
eat exotic things, especially centipedes are known to be gnarly.
Yeah.
Centipedes aren't like a friendly animal.
Most aren't really venomous. Some will irritate you if they. I mean, there are some that are really highly venomous and would probably kill you. But
they have that reputation at least.
It's the lizards, man. Stop eating lizards. Stop licking lizards. Stop kissing lizards. Stop doing anything with lizards.
Everything has salmonella.
Yeah.
Leave it all alone.
Just pretend they're literally covered in salmonella. All right? They bathe in it. All right? Just stop eating them, for Christ's sakes.
Roy Thomas, shout out to Roy, has a great overview on what meth does. And he says, black, dirty teeth, clean, white toilets. That's the meth status. I always talk about the disorganized thought thing because that's the most hilarious and tragic part of it, is that your thoughts get so disorganized that really bad ideas seem like good ideas, and everything in your house seems like you would benefit somehow if you took it apart and didn't put it back together and lost the screws. Dad trying to pick up the phone and the top half of the phone comes apart instead of the handset.
Wow.
Yeah.
All
where's
right.
the belt for the answering machine? All right. These are old memories. Sorry.
All right.
Because people don't worry about where their answering machine anymore. But ours was so close to work. There's a belt that moves the tape, and you don't want to take the belt out. It's important. It moves the tape around. Then you don't have an answering machine anymore. All right. That's my childhood trauma for the day.
All right.
Relatively minor.
This is pretty good. There have been quite a few extreme heat warnings in cities that don't usually have that, and there have been more. There's more every year.
Oh yeah, like New York was
why.
over 100 degrees and stuff.
I don't know why that could be. It's just must be a coincidence, but
Heat.
Yeah. But in Massachusetts, in Braintree, Massachusetts, the police department sent out a notice imploring criminals to hold off on illegal activity until the heat wave was over. I gotta read this.
You want to do this all the time. You just tell me.
Yeah.
This is a regular thing to tell criminals.
I mean, you gotta applaud the effort, right? So it says, folks, due to the extreme heat, we're asking anyone thinking of doing criminal activity to hold off until Monday. It is straight up hot as soccer balls out there. Conducting criminal activity in this extreme heat is next level henchman status and also very dangerous. Stay home, blast the AC, binge Stranger Things Season 3, play with the Face app, practice karate in your basement. We will all meet again on Monday when it's cooler. Sincerely, the Popo.
I love how they have this kind of relationship with their criminal scene. Take some time and practice your karate because our officers, we got our karate game strong.
Yeah.
You criminals, we know your karate game has been weak, so put in some effort there. Watch some TV. I love this. Heat is next level henchman status. What rookie recruit got to make this article and was like, I know it. Cracks his knuckles.
Oh yeah.
I got this tweet, you guys. Don't question me. What do you call the old leader guy behind the desk? Chief.
The captain.
Yeah. All right, Captain. Trust me on this. I can talk like these criminal kids. That next level henchman status.
Oh man! And then there's also a PS at the end. Please, no spoiler alerts. We're just finishing season 2, referencing Stranger Things. So.
Yeah, we got a hard-working police force. We don't have time to finish season 2 yet. Man, I want to move to Braintree. This police force is hip.
Right.
I can take breaks as a criminal. I get like days off.
State sponsored days off, nonetheless. Like, directed by the local government to take a day off from crime.
This wasn't the one I expected to be my favorite one today, but I think it might be. But did you see what I marked as my real favorite one?
Yeah, that's the one I'm on next.
Oh my gosh, perfect segue time.
All right, so I don't know what this dude's deal is, but he just started like buying billboards. And on the billboards, it just reads, "Birds aren't real."
Yeah, bird news, you guys, perpetuating my bird news. Sorry, that's long. New bird news.
That, yes, all birds that you see
They're all fake.
are not actually birds. They're robotic drones created by the government to spy on us. And he's been doing this. Yeah, the billboards are crazy. I don't.
Every tweet by a bird is a lie. Birds are lying to them every day. We don't find this humorous, he said. This is a serious issue, and this is something where we're trying to spread awareness of unconsensual surveillance happening on a mass level. Birds are lying to them every day. Because, of course, in the 1950s, when we couldn't even make an electric airplane, we were replacing birds with drones when we had primitive, easily jammable radio frequencies that overlapped each other regularly and like no method of digital stabilization. Anything that makes drones work, of course, so we could do it for birds in the 50s for sure. And all the birds have been fake.
Yeah.
Now, if you were like 1 in 1,000 birds is a robot, like when you see a swarm, like a cloud, or a murmuration, they call it, of birds, when you see a murmurating and you see one that's just really sloppy, or he's just moving in rectangles, you know that's one of them surveillance birds. Its little eyes are high megapixel cameras, similar to what's used in the iPhone, manufactured in the Foxconn factory in China. 10 teenagers jumped out the window building the cameras that were in this Foxconn. Anyway, how atrocious can I make the use of these robot birds? Okay, I'd buy that. Like, some birds are fake. Some birds, and you know, there's some clumsy birds out there that might be spying on me like this week. But this all birds, that's taking it too far. That's why I'm mad. He's like ruining my some birds are fake conspiracy with this all birds are fake baloney. He's going to make it so all these people get surveilled by robot birds because they don't take it seriously because of his hyperbole. Anyway.
Well, I think it's a fun game. I've started playing is like with conspiracy theories. Like, there's always going to be like a one-upper, but you just got to take it to like the most absurd level and just cut them off at the pass. You know, with like the Earth is fake or flat Earth.
Yeah.
Thing.
Space
you know, it's
is
just
fake.
Like, yeah, space is fake. Or if like people, you know, talk about like we faked the moon landing. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're one of those people who think the moon's real, huh? Like acting like there's just not a giant like black curtain around the Earth that like it's just painted on, you know?
Yeah. How come sometimes when clouds pass in front of the moon, some of the cloud passes behind the moon? Explain that. How are clouds getting behind the moon? All right.
That's all a projection.
How many billboards has this guy purchased?
Not enough.
I mean, and where's his money source? Is he like
Just
fundraising or just one? Okay. I
Imagine
see.
you give your child a trust fund. You work your whole life. You work your way up. Because this guy's not like seasoned of age.
Yeah,
This
he's
is a
young
fella.
guy, like a young guy.
He
yeah.
hasn't had that life experience that you and I might have had. But his parents might have. His parents might have worked really hard and started repairing conveyor belts at the factory until they got to train other employees until one day they looked down at the factory floor, their hands crossed behind their back, just admiring forehead against the glass looking at all these hard-working workers and what they've built. It's a new wing to the factory. You're getting old, the bones are getting creaky. You might start just kind of calling in to see how the factory is going and this empire you've built. You missed a lot of birthdays. You missed a lot of baseball games for this poor boy, knowing that one day, as this factory grew, you'd be able to set him up so he wouldn't have to work and he could do altruistic things. He could be a peacekeeper. He could look out for the government that you've fought your whole life with taxes and weird regulations to build this factory. This young boy could one day stand up against the evil things the government does and be revolutionary and help other people grow and build businesses of his own. And now he's just out in the backyard videoing birds all the time, always on the internet, not setting up any kind of funnel or revenue stream. You just got this bird-obsessed twerp going on. Anyway, that's my vision. I'm sorry for his parents.
Oh, man.
He's going to be a freedom fighter and all, but it's going to be a freedom for oppressed car factory robots or something. He's going to switch it up and be like, I've studied all these robot birds and stuff, and now I realize that the robots building our cars are slaves. Help me, Father. I'm going to free them. He burns down his dad's car. It's a symbol of oppression.
Oh, man.
All right, you guys.
All right. Should we do our...
Oh, it's time to pay some bills.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, we're going to talk about some things that help RadioVegas.rocks keep existing. Mention RadioVegas.rocks to these people, and we're going to chug some tea. We'll see you in a sec.
What is Jesse Ray's Barbecue? Well, it's a tiny, unassuming place with a modest menu of platters, sandwiches, and house-made sauces. Located at 5611 South Valley View, by the smell alone, you're going to know you're in the right place. Come try the award-winning slow-smoked ribs, chicken, pulled pork, hot links, and brisket. The sauce is also something to talk about, as you will want to eat it with every bite. Here's a tip. Their sauces are available for purchase. When people ask you, how do you like Jesse Ray's Barbecue? You'll say, like most people I know, I don't like it, I love it. Jesse Ray's Barbecue is 100% legit. Stop on by for a meal that will satisfy your barbecue-loving lips. Mention RadioVegas.rocks for 10% off your order. Jesse Ray's, located at 5611 South Valley View on the corner of Valley View and Russell. Come in, take a bite, find out why they're so award-winning. Hey Las Vegas, are you tired of the grind of the busy Las Vegas Strip and lifestyle? Do you feel like you need to get away to an island retreat without ever really leaving town? The Golden Tiki Bar. It's located at 3939 Spring Mountain Road. You can rumble in the sand of what it seems like a lost hideaway with hot Treasure Island girls, amazing drinks, tiki gods who will be smiling down upon you. The Golden Tiki offers a multitude of experiences. It's open 24 hours a day. It's located right in the heart of Chinatown. It's 3939 Spring Mountain Road. It's the Golden Tiki Bar.
Dude wipes.
True. A guy one time, he pulled his pants down and bent over and spread his cheeks.
What did the 5 minutes look like before that? Like, how do you just lead up to that?
He was proposing.
I was sitting there talking to his mother.
Dude wipes.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute.
And
what?
he did it in front of me and his mother.
And his mother?
It's just crazy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dude wipes.
Crying because his butthole was so big. But that's another story.
Oh my God.
Wait a minute. Whoa.
Wait a minute. You can't leave that hanging out there.
Pause.
He's got a big butthole, but we'll talk about it later.
Yeah. Right back to you, Jay.
Yeah.
Dude wipes.
Was it clean at least?
No.
Oh.
I think that's why it looked big. It was brown, full of junk. That was nasty.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not even Manscaped?
He just got shit flakes.
Are you saying what he needed
falling
was
He
some
was
all
like,
over the place.
I don't know.
Are you saying what he needed was some dude
Dingleberries.
wipes?
He was
all over
a
the place.
teenager, and I told her, I said, I don't think his butthole's that big. I think it was just crap. She started crying.
You see some dude wipes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Proud
definitely.
sponsor.
Get the address.
Yeah.
Ship him out of chasing dude wipes.
Yo, I'm so sorry. I always send the stories in the wrong direction.
No,
It's quite all right.
What other direction could you send it?
Right.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Dude wipes.
Some guy bent over and showed me his dirty butthole.
Yeah. Someone's got a mic drop. Someone's got a sound drop now.
Dude wipes.
Dude wipes. Exactly.
That's their new commercial. I'm gonna cut it tomorrow. Make sure it happens.
Yeah, you got to.
I got a new Dude Wipes commercial for you. Yeah, let me hear it. Dude Wipes. The guy bent over and showed me his dirty butthole.
Dude wipes.
Dude Wipes.
The guy got naked in the Rock Comedy Show.
Oh,
Dude wipes.
my mind's eye keeps remember. I don't want.
DudeProducts.com.
Hey everyone, it's your buddy Crazy J back again to tell you about Angel Wax. We've been telling you about it for a while now. This product is absolutely amazing. Our boy Tommy Davis, the man behind Angel Wax, he has been working hard for you. He has been on tour, he has been traveling, he's done car shows, he's done conventions. He is spreading the gospel of Angel Wax, and it's working. A lot of people are getting into it. They love it. Those car enthusiasts that are spending their weekends detailing it like crazy, love it. If you want to outshine the rest of the cars on the road, the best way to do that is by getting some Angel Wax. Let Tommy Davis know that RadioVegas.rocks sent you to him to try this amazing product. Angel Wax, get in on it today.
Oh heck, I got all tea talking. So wait, let's move the camera back to us. And welcome back. It's Greasy Conversation. Welcome to the chat, RJ Russell. You too can chat with us as well on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. And we're here with Tealet and Elyse and Kaimu. And I was talking about white tea and my misconceptions about it. Because there's a lot of white teas marketed as like a kind of green tea, kind of.
Yeah, well, there can be like hybrids. There's some growers that we work with that produce what has the aesthetic of a white tea, meaning it's lightly processed. So that's white tea. White tea is literally like when you harvest off the bush and then dry it from there. But
so it's more of a process than a breed?
Yes, it's definitely a process. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's part of my confusion right there.
Yeah. So the white, the green, the oolong, the black, those are the main processes. And the difference between that is white has no oxidation, no processing to it. It's just dried as is. The green has some type of enzyme killing step that locks in the green color. And then oolong and black are oxidized. And that's the same oxidation process that happens when you cut an apple or an avocado and it starts to brown.
Oh.
So yeah, it's a polyphenol oxidase is the main enzyme that causes that reaction. It changes the chemical structure, of the leaf, and also its flavors, its aromas. So like the higher degree of oxidation, which is more closer to a black tea, the more malty it will be, the more deep sweetness it'll have to it. While green tea will have like that grassy flavor, like because you locked in the green, and then white tea is like fresh and flowery.
Which do you think preserves the most beneficial stuff? The goodness.
That's a relative question,
Really?
I
so
can't
it can
tell you.
Depend
It
what you're
changes.
looking for out of it.
Exactly.
And which breed deals with which process better?
Yeah, so that's for the tea master, for the tea maker, the guy that's like taking the green leaf and turning it into the loose leaf tea that we'll put into the teapot. That is his job to understand which cultivars he's working with and understand the overall terroir, which is the term that we use. It's used in wine. It just means like the environment. So the soil type, the elevation, the weather, the climate, the time in the season that the leaf has been harvested is going to yield a different type of leaf, and then you have to process to best accentuate that. So white teas and green teas tend to come on the earlier fleshes, while oolong and black teas come from the later, more mature harvests. And caffeine level, if you want a little more tidbit information about tea and caffeine, higher caffeine is coming from earlier in the season and has less processing on it. It's the same thing with coffee. Like when you roast coffee beans, higher roast coffee has less caffeine because caffeine has a very low boiling point actually. And so it will evaporate.
Independent dog.
Yeah, take care of the dog. Yeah. So yeah, the caffeine will evaporate at a low temp. So any application of heat or processing will cause caffeine to escape from the leaf. So if you look at those two, determine those two factors in caffeine, then that would mean that white officially has, oh, hey dog, white tea has the most caffeine, followed by green tea, followed by oolong tea, followed by black tea.
I always had it backwards. I always, for some
Well,
reason,
because
thought.
Tivana, which was like one of our main educators of tea up until just a few years ago, that was what they said.
I think that's right, because I don't know where I got it from, but I had a little card that like laid out all the different like types of teas, and then the caffeine content and what type of gaiwan you should use to brew it and all that stuff. And it had like the darker teas, and like black tea and oolong was higher in caffeine content. So
Yeah, it's very
I got
possible
that
that the
figured out.
tea is higher in qi. And qi is very different than caffeine. It can be perceived as energy. I mean, it is energy. Qi means energy in Chinese. But the tea can have a high qi, but then also a low, like caffeine. And that qi is more of like a body uplifting, mind uplifting
Does
kind of
that
effect.
come from a certain chemical, or is it more like a psychosomatic reaction to the
This,
whole
I believe,
experience?
is minerals. I think this is about minerals, and so the teas that have the higher level of qi is more associated with how the plant's roots are.
Wow.
So when you grow a plant from a seed, it will grow a single taproot that goes down. And for tea trees, that taproot ends up being as tall as the tree is as tall as the taproot. So some of these old trees, they have very, very deep roots. Like I've climbed trees that are like 80 feet tall.
Whoa.
And so that means the roots are at least that much, because if you
Wow.
ever pruned the tree, the roots are still growing, but the tree is still shorter, and the pruning happens to keep the harvest, more efficient. So the roots go very deep into the earth where it's closer to the core of the earth. Energy content is higher, mineral content is higher, and you even taste it too. So like pu'er tea, that's like most pu'er tea is grown from seed. So it has that mineral-y qi to it. That's, I believe, coming from the earth. It's, very interesting how tea is such a strong receptor of everything, even aromas. So you put your tea into the fridge with a lot of other things in there. It'll like soak up all the aromas of everything.
Oh, wow.
So same thing, like the roots, I think, really absorb all those minerals and nutrients, and it does come out in the tea in effect. Really, the physiological effect your body has when you consume it. It really is a medicine.
So that's Peanut. Peanut has some Jack Russell in her, and so a lot of dogs like that talk, quote unquote, which means they growl sometimes when they're not actually trying to be defensive, just to like make a noise. So she wasn't gonna nip you or anything, but she does growl when you touch her, even if you're like a friend that picks her up.
Yeah.
Like she was doing that to me, picking her up and petting her and stuff. She's like,
Well,
They're just weird
I'm so
goblins.
used to Bitcoin, my dog. That,
better safe than sorry, though, if a dog's
because my
acting
dog
anyway.
will bite someone when he's growling at them.
Yeah, well, and honestly, in my opinion, like Jack Russells, it's hard to tell sometimes how much they like you or not, and they're going to do what they're going to do. So better safe than sorry. But Peanut's a vetted sweetheart, and Jay just ran off for a second, probably down the road to grab something from the store, and something about Peanut, if you don't discuss it with her first, then she's just like, oh yeah, she'll howl in outrage that she wasn't informed of the schedule change or whatever. So I had to grab her, but thanks for your patience, radio listeners. I just put a dog in my lap a second. And honestly, in my opinion, I'll take an extra howl or two in my show to have an extra living entity that could suddenly be dragged in as a lap guest or something. I don't know. There's something charming about the random things a dog does to a house. My place is too small, so it's just cat time now. So I've just got this little furry person that frowns at me. One of those frowny cats, got resting bitch face, but with a cat.
Oh no!
It's really funny.
Like angry cat,
It's like grumpy cat. Yeah.
grumpy cat. Yeah, that's wow.
It's funny though. It's funny to watching something enjoy you petting its head while also looking like grumpy mixed with enjoyment. I don't know. It's funny to me. Grumpy enjoyment amuses me. For what you can take from that,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah. Bitcoin does the mean mugging all the time. He's got an underbite, and his lip sometimes will get caught under his
dogs are
teeth.
always
Yeah, and he's totally happy in a great mood, but he's
Yeah, their dog is named Bitcoin,
Yeah.
and he's a fun fella too. It cracks me
Yeah,
up.
Bitcoin. Hey, how about Bitcoin? Speaking of, are you guys invested? Are you guys?
Oh no, let's look because I've got some sitting and I haven't checked on it in forever.
I have never. I've wanted to several times, but
Shout out to
I
Spacey
just-
Blur, who's a cool musician that you could look up, but he was hollering at me, or he would not at me personally. He posted on Facebook about trading some Bitcoin,
Right.
and I was talking about some indicators and stuff. I don't trade it; I just hodl it. You guys heard about hodling? So it's just someone misspelled holding on this article they wrote about holding Bitcoin. So now
There was
I
in
call
some
it
like Bitcoin forum, I think.
hodling all the
And then
time.
it just became like hodl. Anytime someone was like, "Bitcoin's gonna crash," look.
Hodl,
like,
hodl
"Nope,
for dear
hodl,
life.
Hodl for
Like,
hodl
like
for.
currency in the Pokemon, instead of saying squirrel, like hodl.
Okay.
Where's it at? Where are we
Exactly.
at?
So for the people that have been following throughout the seasons of my Bitcoin account, it started as $10 that someone gave me a while ago just because I didn't have any Bitcoin. They're like, oh, that's the future. Have some. I'll send you some. Make a Coinbase account real quick. So I had $10 and I had like 300 during the boom that was, what was this, about a year ago?
I think it was like 2 years now, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think-
There was a big boom where it almost hit 20,000
Yeah.
in December that just passed.
So I was chilling around 300, and so then as it was going down, I decided to split some of it into like a couple of Ethereums, some. I got some XRP from Coinbase. I think just gave me it. The Bitcoin Cash, I ended up with some of that when the split happened. I wanted to get a little bit of Litecoin just because it's cheap and why not. And then somehow I have stellar lumens, and I don't know what stellar lumens are. If you know, you can holler in the chat. But I think that's something else Coinbase just gave me promotionally or whatever.
Just like all the cryptocurrencies.
Yeah,
like
Coinbase
everyone-
is weird because they're that too big to fail, likely gonna fail kind of bank situation. Because like storing stuff in Coinbase, it takes away a lot of the advantages of having Bitcoin. And then okay, now there's a corporation that can fail and I could lose, like any bank. It's basically a bank,
Well,
but they're a
that-
leader at least.
Didn't that happen with some like there was a
Mount Gox?
Yeah,
The-
Mount Gox,
Yes!
that's what
Yeah,
I'm
the one
thinking
in
of.
Japan, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a huge one that I even like considered when I looked at getting a Coinbase account. Anyway, I'm at 253 now. Don't think I'm some $253 heir because I'm hodling. That's not money that's liquid. But anyway, I'm back up to close to the boom pocket. I just think that's like a fun amount of money to have as play time.
Yeah.
Because like shit could get really crazy and I could pull that out, but in the meantime, that feels like an okay amount to have sitting in a flower pot in the corner of the house, basically.
Tealet is actually one of the first Bitcoin merchants in the world. We were part of that, early trend of businesses finding
Oh, wow.
application for Bitcoin. So this was 2013, and made a lot of friends within the Bitcoin industry, early miners, a lot of these like kind of digital billionaires. And one of them, who is now, a mentor of the company and, someone that I look to for advice, wanted to become an angel investor. And he had all these goals of like when Bitcoin would hit different prices that he'd acquire different things, the different vehicles or a mansion or, he bought these things with Bitcoin. And he ended up buying a convertible note with his Bitcoin for $50,000. So that's like a common like angel investment.
A convertible what?
A convertible note. So that's like it's kind of like a new way of startups taking money. Yeah.
I thought this was a vehicle because you were talking about how as he did better and he might buy different things.
He got a convertible.
I
He did.
thought-
He literally got a convertible note. He did.
A Nissan
no, he bought
Versa
it with
note?
Bitcoin. Oh,
Have you
yeah.
seen the Nissan Versa
Yeah.
note?
The hatchback?
It's
Yeah,
like a
that's cool.
hatchback of the cheapest car you can probably buy by a brand you've heard of. I thought he found a convertible one. It's like, that's so ambitious. That's a whole... Wow, a convertible Nissan. I'm always making fun of Nissan Versas too as a random
No, he
car
bought
to
he
say.
bought that car that's my name. It's like a Lotus or something like that.
Oh,
It's
Elyse, the Lotus Elyse.
Yeah,
I'm familiar, yeah.
He bought that car when Bitcoin hit
Nice.
like $200 or something. So you can only imagine what he bought when Bitcoin hit 20,000. But by that point, he's been dealing with all of the accounting difficulties of buying things and doing things with Bitcoin. But He gave us a $50,000 investment when Bitcoin was worth $175.
Oh.
And the
man.
Bitcoin came in, and through the advice of my CPA, which I'm grateful I've taken that advice, and it's a part of our Bitcoin story, is that I converted all of that to US dollar to make all the paperwork very clean and easy to deal with. So,
But if you had left it as Bitcoin.
yeah.
Yeah, because for people not in the know, Bitcoin's worth a lot more individually per coin now.
Yeah, it's like 10,000, a little over 10,000. It hit like 13,000 last week. I mean, this is how volatile it is. It's going up and down, but it is.
You avoided risk though. As a savvy
I
business
avoid-
person, you actually did the safer, more advised thing.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of person I am. But it's also a cool part of our story, because
Yeah,
a
for
lot
sure.
of people that are a part of Bitcoin community, they've been a part of these kind of like one-off, early chance opportunities. And, there's validity to that and there's value to that. But what I'm trying to represent within the whole cryptocurrency story is that the value of this technology and these concepts is not solely in some kind of financial gain you're going to get and the perceived value of the currency overall, but the actual activity of it. So like 100% of our payments to the farmers that we work with that are in China and Japan and India and Nepal and Malawi, Africa, like we are able to send them the payments for their tea, which can be thousands of dollars. And when we do an international wire through PayPal or through the bank,
The
you're
fees
talking
are insane.
like 10
yeah.
to 12% cut off the top for the convenience of moving money around the world. But with Bitcoin, we can move the money into the other country using a resource that will exchange things and just wire it right away. So the transactions are so instantaneous. There's not like a gain or loss. It's not like we're trying to find arbitrage. Of course, the bank I'm working with, they may be doing it, but I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to safely and affordably move money around to people that are already disadvantaged. They're already working on small enough margins. So like, why let something else that, is consuming so much of the power in this world, take their cut from the good work we're doing. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the convenience of like transferring digital
Yeah,
information around. Yeah, it's
because
really
all the money and the currency is right now. It's just
it's all,
data.
Mostly it's digital. Yeah.
Well, yeah, so that's all it is. That's all money is. I mean, what is money for us? Like, as a paper, as a piece of paper with something printed on it. Like, what value is that? No, it's just like a perceived value. So we can bring that to the digital age, and that's how, blockchains and cryptocurrencies are going to help us. Like, the really only applications for blockchains is applications where they're transactions of trust, which, if we're trying to say this thing is worth this value, you need to validate that we trust the value at that time of that transaction, and so that's really the only application now that's there. But, I look forward to seeing what comes up. It's still very early days.
It's exciting what a workforce it makes in nations and areas of the world that struggle to find work and gainful employment. You can help people make entrepreneurship in places that aren't already known for. Because America has such an entrepreneurship culture, and there's a lot of advantages that we don't realize we have in making a business that just aren't available in a lot of other places in the world without something like this.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited. I've got an idea, and I share this idea freely because I know that I don't want to build it, but if I have to build it, I will. And when the time comes, if someone else wants to build it.
It sounds like Elon talking about the Hyperloop.
Oh, really?
It's like, no, this is a great idea. I'll even sponsor a competition. And oh no, I'm bored with it. I'm just going to make my own company. You guys aren't doing it quick enough. And then the boring company happened. But what's this idea?
Yeah, so it's like using blockchain to tackle microfinancing. So in the network that I've built, there are legitimate like businesses, small scale businesses working with each other, and we have historical market data of orders and production and the business that's happened between those two parties. But maybe the farmer needs to invest in installing an irrigation system. And so right now they go to a bank and get a microfinance loan from Grameen Bank, or, even local banks will provide these small, like $5,000 to $10,000 loans to do small projects. But then the interest rate is at least 20%, which is like ridiculous. Yeah. Like the poorest people get charged the highest percentages.
Every time. Yeah. Payday loans are another version of that.
Yeah, it's like that. And it shouldn't be like that. I mean, payday loans is like
We could go on and on that. Yeah.
But like we're talking about like hardworking entrepreneurs that are doing good work and are guaranteed to do good work and like are like using this money for good and to bring more value to the world, and then you're going to charge them such a high rate. And there's a reason why. Like it's a smart reason, because they're very high risk loans. You're giving money to an entrepreneur that maybe doesn't know what they're doing, doesn't have like the guidance or the leadership to kind of like help them. And that's what my business has been doing, and so this is like very targeted form, like,
so the loan has like risk. Training wheels to it.
Yeah, it has.
They don't have the loan without also the support to actually make the money with the loan.
Yeah. And so then the money for these loans is not going to come from a bank, like a financial institution in that way. It can come from cryptocurrency investors. And a farmer, when they apply for that loan, is essentially creating their own white paper for cryptocurrency that they're going to create. So, there's going to be thousands upon thousands of different cryptocurrencies that are all just going to be like localized to a certain project. You put money into something to create value in this like economy right here. So they launch the coin. The coin has like this value today, and the farmer's going to use all that money to invest in the infrastructure, and then 7 months later having the harvest ready for market. And by the time the seeds have been planted and everything comes out, like that money he originally got is worth more, and so those investors can,
nice.
So the
leverage that.
Yeah. And so either the investor can sell their share and like make their return on what or they can invest in a next loan, like pass on their earnings. And the buyers, the investors of these loans could be the businesses that are buying. So they're essentially like prepaying, and then whenever the harvest happens, the farmer can pay them back with product itself.
Yeah, that's great.
Nice.
That's a way like more logical structure if there's the trust involved.
Yeah.
That's killer.
Yeah. So, I may have to build it. I don't really want to. Like, I think that this is like a platform that could be built by someone completely autonomous to me that I could plug into and they could get their value. Like, that's what I believe in. Like, I think
the right investor could put work in their own percentage and take on the risk over that time, and could be really into it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you're doing good. You're investing smart, and it can return legitimate returns.
Well, I mean, for sure, look at China and how much China's been given free breaks on copyright infringement and had all manufacturing outsourced to them. And now they're an industrial first world leader dealing with all these first world problems they don't even know how to deal with yet. Leader in solar and green energy while also being a leader in pollution at the same time. But I mean, that's fast progress, for better or for worse, can happen with that kind of support and teamwork and trust and people working with them from other countries.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think we're in for some good progress to happen. It's like the younger people, and it's not even like the millennials anymore, the youngest millennial is like what, 26, 27 now. Like it's like the 22-year-olds, 18-year-olds, go talk to them. Like they are like super mindful and like really careful about what they eat, and like create like really kind of entitled that they deserve to be able to support good products and a good future. So
it's weird how Gen X is kind of like floating, and then there's Gen Y, which is supposedly like us, but it's like this forgotten generation that's not talked about. And all the talk is about the millennials or the boomers, as if there isn't like 30 years of people in between that. They're just like barely only now starting to get Gen Xers in government. And they're like, Gen Xer has to be in their 40s now. If we're like late 30s and Gen Y. I know I'm 36 and not considered a Gen Xer. I'm like on the younger cusp of that, but barely considered a millennial by like 1 year, graduating in 2001. So it's just this weird group of people that are really underrepresented and almost like wallflower in it. It's like this wallflower generation. It's like, okay, these kids are going to figure out stuff that we didn't figure out all the way, and these old people are going to die out. In the meantime, I'm just going to cross my arms and see what happens. Well, I feel like Gen X and Y are a lot right now.
Well, I think too, it's just part of the media. It's like all people that are younger than this age are millennials, and they're the reason why like all these businesses who haven't just changed their business plans are failing. And then like everyone older is just a boomer and they're the reason like everything sucks. And like, it's just like to me, it's like a forced generational conflict almost.
Maybe this always happens, and maybe
I'm sure it does. Yeah.
The people that are really, truly like a middle age, effective age, because now like people in their 50s are kind of middle age as far as lifespan, but the classic middle age as far as like when you're putting your head down and working and you're not as involved with the world as much, is like a silent majority situation, maybe cyclically, and maybe that's taken advantage of because I know there's a lot of taking advantage of underrepresented groups that lead to some of the officials we have in office that we're less happy with now. To be like super vague about it.
Right.
Is it already almost
Yep, we got
Bob
one more.
Thornton time?
We got one more run.
Let's like knock out a Bob Thornton and then news chow again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you tired of Mexican places that use store-bought salsa on their food? Then you need to come on down to Pinch's Tacos. Not only is everything delicious, but it's fresh. There is steam coming up off the tortillas. And with a full bar, you can make a Cinco de Mayo any time of the year. Make sure you order one of their blood orange margaritas and mention Radio Vegas and get a free Gringo Taco.
Gringo Taco.
That's right, a free Gringo Taco. So come on down to Pinch's Tacos where there's no wall between you and authentic Mexican flavor. Gringo Taco offer only good at 9205 West Russell Road.
Are you looking for that afternoon pick-me-up? Well, there's the energy drink way, but you're not a fan of all the sugar or the hard crash? Well, then you need Zip Fizz All-Natural Energy. That's right, add it to your bottle of water, and soon you'll be replenished with 4 to 6 hours of all-natural energy.
Zip Fizz Energy, no sudden crash, 10 calorie, low carb, vitamin B, the healthy energy mix. Zip Fizz.
ZipFizz.com.
It's back! The triumphant return of the Zoe Bowie Karaoke Contest. Brought to you by Zip Fizz All Natural Energy. With a grand prize of singing your favorite song on stage live with Zoe Bowie and his band. It's the Zoe Bowie Karaoke Contest. For more details, listen to The Rockin' Comedy Show or visit rockingcomedyshow.com. And keep it right here on the station that sings with Zoe Bowie. Radio Vegas rocks.
At Albo Pizza, our mission is to bring a menu of savory Italian classics and tasty American fare to the city of Las Vegas. Combining a classic menu of Italian favorites and American fare, Albo Pizza was designed with a variety of palates in mind. United by fresh ingredients prepared daily, all our recipes are homemade, hand-tossed, and hard to resist. Explore their popular pizza offerings or branch out with our burgers and chicken wings. Whichever way you go, their menu is prepared to please. Located at 1510 South Las Vegas Boulevard next to Dino's. Visit them online at www.albopizzalv.com or find them on Facebook. For delivery, call 702-333-2526.
Yeah, hey guys, we're just talking about how single-use plastic's kind of a bummer, but if we can support it being made out of petroleum less and made out of things like hemp or soy, did you know that a lot of these plastic water bottles that we use are actually grown in soy fields, and you can't even tell the difference between that and other clear plastics. But majority of our plastics is still petroleum-based, and DuPont's grimy fist on the cannabis industry. Anyway, you guys know the history of that baloney.
Yeah, I was listening to something on NPR the other day that was kind of making the devil's advocate argument on this, that some of these alternatives that we're finding, we're not like really even researching the future impacts that they can have.
Like the plant-based plastics could be more detrimental to like air pollution and
yeah,
stuff.
so what happens is and I know the direct thing on that, and because this is from the biofuel movement that happened, a decade ago or over a decade ago, it really affected the commodity prices of corn because the industry was being developed for that demand, because that demand was in high profit demand. And so, and I saw this happen while I was in the Peace Corps in Africa. And so there, like you go to the market and buy a bowl of corn to take home to make your dinner with, like that price had more than doubled.
Oh,
and
wow.
for, a community of people that's like, 20% of their income goes towards food or 30% of their income goes towards food, that like really affects them. And so there's these things, you think, oh, this is a solution, we should just pursue it. And so the thing with the single-use plastic is they say, well, we should use glass. And it's like, okay, not only is that more expensive, but then there's a bigger carbon footprint because there's more weight to transport.
I hate glass, and you cut your feet all the time.
All the time.
I have a floor in my house that's not carpet, and we've had to cyclically ban glass. We tried to keep banning glass, and you forget, and more glass sneaks in. Then we get more foot injuries, and we're like, we're banning glass again. And I hate glass. All the weed comes in glass jars now, and come on, just I'll give you the container. Just put the flowers in there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of glass.
Yeah, it'd be great if we could use reusable packaging, at the places that we buy our consumables, but the FDA won't let that go down. So it's a bit of a conflict that we have with so much regulation and support from the government to keep our food supply safe. There's also a lot of things hindering. Yeah. There's a big thing hindering my industry right now. The FDA just passed something called the Food Safety Modernization Act, and it is the most rigorous regulation to be passed by the FDA in 70 years. And the original one was when after Upton St. Clair's book came out. Did you read The Jungle about the meat processing plants in Chicago? It's really
I've
famous.
heard about it. I couldn't read it. I'm gonna freak out.
Well, that book triggered FDA to
For
make
sure.
all of the food safety regulations that we have now.
So we had a new
And
set
we had a
that's
new
that
thing,
level?
and it's that level that's now trying to police foreign suppliers, which affects my business because I'm importing food. And so basically it's requiring that at point of import, there has to be a certificate in the shipment that verifies that the source of that food, it has been audited by a third party, contracted by the USDA or by the FDA to have the same food safety standard that we have here. Now, currently here, if you own a food factory like anybody, only a small percentage of those places get inspected because the FDA just doesn't have the bandwidth for that. So it's actually going to be harder for a foreign supplier to maintain compliance because 100% of them have to be inspected every year and they have to pay for it. They have to pay for an auditor to come in, not from the FDA. They're a FDA licensed auditor to come in and inspect you to say, okay, yeah, you're following all the rules, which these rules are very rigorous, like stainless steel and everything. And in China, they don't even understand why you'd want to, do something like that. So, it's really a threat on artisanal craft, small scale food production. And when you read these regulations, it's you can see people from Kraft and Nestle behind thinking, okay, how can we write these rules to make it easy for us to remain compliant, but also get rid of the competition?
Nestle is known for that too. Nestle's trail of blood runs thick. If you want to look up some Nestle lore and from controversies with baby formula addictions to mothers that couldn't make milk anymore once they couldn't afford formula that they were reared on in third world countries that have led to mass infant deaths in places Nestle has touched, to other things. I forget the other Nestle controversy was on that level of actual deaths behind Nestle.
Yeah.
It's gnarly.
Yeah. Well, and I know one big thing is in the transparency of the supply chain. That's one big controversy is that, Nestle has to buy such large quantities and there's not a lot of transparency about the condition of where these are coming from. And now there's exposés in West Africa where they're showing, the real condition. There's that viral video of the guy eating chocolate for the first time, chocolate farmer, cacao farmer. He's never actually eaten a chocolate bar,
Oh, wow.
that type of sensational, and the state of California actually has this really incredible law called transparency reporting. If you are a retail brand that is doing business in California and you do at least $1 million a year in revenue around the world, which is most companies, that's not a lot of money, so that's most companies, you have to have a transparency report accessible from the front page of your website that verifies that there's no human trafficking or slave trade involved in your supply chain.
Wow.
So yeah, and now if you go to any company, you'll find this now. It's it has to be accessible from the front page. You're like, what is this transparency report? You click it, and it's usually this very short one paragraph letter from the CEO of the company signing off. Yeah, we verify that none of our supply chain.
That's all it is. Yeah.
That's all it is, and it's is like such a cool regulation that could do a lot of good for the world, you know.
But it's just completely castrated.
Yeah, I mean, if Nestle was really transparent about everything, I mean, there'd be a lot of,
yeah,
you know, there'd be a lot of sad stories there, you know. So what my company is trying to do is like establish that standard of transparency. So we're like radically transparent and collecting all of the information and sharing it with all of our buyers to let them know, hey, let's not trust certifications. Let's not trust, you know, these buzzwords. Like, let's trust the information itself.
Yeah, you can't always trust the certifier, but this idea of radical transparency, because it just could revolutionize a lot of business stuff. It just really should be the way to lean towards for trust from the consumer, and it's going to make the businesses that don't look bad inevitably if people insist on this.
And you know what businesses follow? Like, we can change business thought faster than we can change like political thought, and political thought is actually controlled by business thought. So like, that's why I'm
especially
focused.
In this country.
That's why I'm focused on business. Like, I don't want to be a politician, but I do want to see the world get better. But like, I'd rather do it through business. And what businesses follow is the consumer, you know, and it's true. Like, what your buying dollars go through, and it's not just your buying dollars, but it's also your voice. Like, interact with the brands that you're buying from, and like, don't be shy to ask for it. You know, even if they tell you, no, I can't do that, it's not possible, just keep asking for it. And
we asked Kicker for more headphones for this studio.
Yeah.
Could you hold up yours real quick? Because you're wearing the new type.
Oh, wow.
See, these are the Kicker Tabor headphones that we originally got from them. And they're a couple different types of really durable plastic. But there's like this cold metal situation. I mean, cold metal in the cool way. That you can feel like they made this part out of some kind of die cast. And this, I don't remember the model name on these, but it's a newer model of Kicker headphones that they provided this room with. And they're pretty rad. You can check them out on Kicker's website, but that's the thing. They've been really easy to communicate with as a company. And we could have picked a lot of different headphone companies, and we had a headphone sponsor before. But Kicker's willingness to like communicate with us and be... I guess that's back to that word transparent. We've talked with them. They've talked with us. They're like, they feel like people that we've like met, and there's that trust level, and they didn't disappear as we kept a relationship with them. And we haven't needed to talk to them about much because their headphones didn't break half as much as the last headphone sponsor. Just saying, which I can talk trash at them because they don't exist anymore. So it's really cool teaming with a brand like them that has that willingness to like talk with the consumer, be a real advertising partner. And I feel like there's a big boom of that with influencers and content creators now, not just getting sponsors or advertisers, but a lot of these companies even phrase it differently as partnerships. And that's so much more honest all the way down to the consumer. Then it's hard. It's more transparent when the entertainer's being it's like dealing with a sleazy sponsor if everything's more transparent to begin with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and businesses are more willing to like solve problems with customers than you'd think, because they don't want bad press about them.
That's been a delicious thing that's turned that people take for granted about the rise of social media and the social issues that come when people can't be responsible with this drug that we make in ourselves with anything. Just like people didn't leave the house with TV back in the day. Everything that's been said about social media has been said about TV, by the way, as far as its unhealthiness. And we need to keep an eye on each other and keep an eye on what the platforms promote and how the algorithms function for society, because it's society affecting stuff. Just like we broke up Ma Bell at the rise of the telephone, which is another thing that the complaints about the risks of social media and the problems that it causes have been compared to historically. But we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, is what I'm getting at with that, is that there's advantages too. And it's good when there's open communication because it polices the corporations and stuff we have to live under. So we're like police right now, everybody. So celebrate that. And tell your friends.
Please.
Tell your friends about this podcast if you got any little chunk of data that you enjoyed from it. Please just grab a buddy, put your hand on their shoulder, and just whisper greasy conversation in their ear and let them know, because we'll grow and we'll all get smarter and more crammed full of tea together.
Yay!
Yeah. So wait, I want to do Greg's major news highlights next to tie off the end of the show.
I don't remember what those ones were.
I want you to pick a couple favorites, but I want to also, now you're going to get us in trouble with Twitch back there. We had, you can't tell where I'm pointing. Thank goodness, because there's an exposed nipple. So we've got 2 clueless dudes coming on after this show. Please stay tuned. If you're watching one of the video feeds, just go over to YouTube and search for 2 clueless dudes and pop on there. You can comment with them too, but it's another show that I produce that if you like this format, you'll love theirs too. And it's on next very, very soon. And we're going to make sure I keep their nipples covered up when they're on the camera, because that'll get... Did you know Twitch has a nipple detection algorithm?
Wonderful.
It's the best of any platform at accurately detecting nipples without human intervention. What was that, Kaimu? I actually didn't hear you, not just the mic. Who got banned a bunch?
Spacey.
Oh no, poor Spacey.
Yeah, but I don't think it was that. It's kind of bogus.
I could see like Spacey trying to like paint his do face paint as a nipple on his face to see if he could trip off the order.
Right. Just like his
Spacey blur, accidental nipples. Yikes! I didn't know he had any
purposeful
banning.
accident.
Bless his heart, he doesn't deserve it.
No, he never got banned, did he?
Well, I don't think for that reason. For another bogus reason, but
yeah, sometimes people just.
I bet Twitch doesn't
you.
like if a bong pops up on camera. I know YouTube doesn't care, but maybe that's a thing. I don't know how bong happy Twitch is compared to YouTube. YouTube's very pro bong.
Yeah, nice.
I didn't say water pipe, mind you. I mean bong. Tommy Chong's bongs. I wanted to say that. Anyway, the news that we miss, I'd be amiss if I didn't tell you that if you go to greasyconversation.com, we have our whole news document here that we've been scrolling through, and it's full of 2 weeks of gladness now. And there's all kinds of fun nuggets in here. For the very beginning, you can... I'm sorry, no, I threw it at the end. You guys, when we talked about the Equifax scandal, and how Equifax just flippantly lost a bunch of our data to hackers like crazy. There's a settlement now, and the settlement's at a point where each of us, if we've had any dealings with Equifax, is entitled to $125. And you can sign up from a third-party website. And so you don't get to some spoof website or anything. I recommend going to The Verge, which is not like my favorite news article outlet or whatever platform, because they've had some crappy mistruths about PewDiePie in the past. But anyway, The Verge, there's good news there too, and they've got a news article on this. And it's linked in our article. And if you follow the links, you'll come to the third-party place where you can sign up to get your $125 or free credit monitoring. Because who wants Equifax's credit monitoring? There's free credit monitoring services too, at a couple different places. There's one that I use, and I can't remember the dang name of it, but it's free also.
Credit Karma?
Karma, thank you. High five. So I'm using Credit Karma, and they're free. They work great. So F Equifax, get that $125 from them. If you actually had data breach causing you to do some identity theft, damage control, you actually lost any money, bank fees, stolen money, any of that, you can settle for that too, and give them paperwork and get that back to you in your settlement. But at least $125.
Yeah, there's more allotted to people who actually suffered like damages due to the information breach. So
for sure. So this talk show might have just made you $125. You're welcome. But you got to follow the links in our news document at greasyconversation.com. Grudgingly through The Verge. Oh no, you know what? F The Verge double, because I linked the specific thing.
Yeah,
it's
the
in
actual
this
link.
document. I gave that real link.
I double checked, and I actually went through the through the FCC's page where they had the link just to double check, because I was like, I checked it out and I'm like, this looks kind of fishy.
Thank you for.
But then there was like a link. You can actually go through the FCC's page on the Equifax settlement, and there's a link to go through and sign up and all that. So
you can do that
legit.
too. I made it bold in our news document, and there's all kinds of fun there. But what is an article that you saw, Greg, that you really wanted to make sure we didn't miss here?
I did just want to kind of celebrate this, because whenever a person doing dastardly deeds gets busted, I kind of revel in the justice.
There's a true crime stint to this show.
Yeah,
for sure.
So this was an ex-deputy in Florida who was planting drugs on drivers and then arresting them
Like
and
crazy.
There's some like body cam footage of this dude where he literally like goes in and like starts looking around and finds like in one woman's car he like finds this little just like metal tin and there's nothing in it but like dirt or whatever fragments.
Her
or whatever
husband's
she had.
ashes. He's like, it's drugs.
Yeah, and then
I
this
put
guy
drugs in your ashes.
literally puts in like a little speck of meth that he'd been holding on to just for this purpose, a tiny speck, and then puts it in there, and then looks around her back seat, pulls it out, and like you can barely see it. It looks like just whatever. It could be a piece of white lint. Who knows? And he's like, "What's this? What's this?" And then does the test, and it's meth. And he's like, "Oh, gotta book you." So finally, this dude did get caught and punished accordingly. So I think they're still like investigating it, but he's not planting drugs on people. Thank God. Shit like that just like irritates the piss out of me, man.
So gross. And on a completely opposite note, check out this cute piglet squid. Did you know a piglet squid was a thing?
I did
Sorry,
not.
audio listeners, but look up a piglet squid later. It looks like it's got mascara on.
It does have some sexy eyelashes, man.
Yeah, you can see it right, Camus. Right?
Yeah.
It's got a
Oh,
little
yeah,
mouth.
it's adorable.
It's got feelers for hair, kind of.
Yeah, well, it looks weird because the tentacles are like on top or above of its side. Yeah, it looks like it has some lipstick,
glammed up.
some blush. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's looking real cute.
Yeah, we had to have a cute animal burst on this tail end. Okay. Do you have another one lined up there? We're doing a news chug right now.
I wanted to do real quick, but I didn't dive as deep because I saw you post these. The Face app.
Oh yeah, people have been talking endlessly about Russia stealing your face data. My face and my name is already in a lot of places. I think this Russian company can have it, and it kind of smells like xenophobia. Like there's a lot to worry about. The diplomacy between Russia's government and our government doesn't mean that like Russian people are necessarily out to get us any more than we have this super huggy relationship in the tech sector with India, and yet a lot of electronic fraud comes from India too. So it comes from places that aren't the government necessarily doing it. Doesn't mean the Face app is the Russian government. Chill, it's just morphing your face old. I think you can handle that data getting out there. That's going to be on the dark web as your face all wrinkly.
Yeah,
oh,
they're
no.
gonna buy this face.
Yeah, I already get. Have you had a Facebook message yet from one of your friends' parents that you haven't talked to in a while?
No.
Yeah, so using the worst language possible, and follow my socials for how this turns out. But old friend's dad, someone made a profile with their name and their picture, just to message people like me and say, "Oh, hey, how are you doing? I haven't talked to you in a while. Did you know about this new thing you can get from the government? Have you talked to your..." Oh man, the language is so dumb. They use your local representative hand-holding person that makes you, like, not the kind of terms that we use for... And no, we don't get an advocate either here that's just going to give you government programs. Like, if you talk to your local advocate of government programs or whatever weird language they had that's nothing like what you use for government programs, like, here, I'll give you the number and follow up with me, and after you talk with them, I'm like, sure, that's really you. So I'm hoping it's someone Russian, so if I send them a bunch of pictures of guys kissing, they'll be freaked out. I'll be like, here are those pictures you asked for. So watch how this turns. Right now I'm just baiting it so their scam is more obvious, so when I report them, there's more evidence. So stay tuned for that.
Nice. Scamming the scammers.
Or at least like baiting them and making them show their cards extra. Because I mean, I don't know if their big brother is going to like hack me or something if I make it too grumpy. I want to pretend like I'm innocently just like really think it's them and they really liked pictures of dudes kissing. Who knows? It might be someone repressed in Russia that's really been hunting for that and hasn't been able to get it. I might make a friend. Guys, I might rescue someone in the Russian closet. That would be beautiful.
Oh, man. That's great. And then I guess we can close out on some... I don't know if there's any, like, facts about Area 51 that people don't already generally know. Because Area 51's all in the news again because some dude made a joke event on Facebook.
Yeah, we talked about this before, the Storm Area 51.
Yeah, Storm Area 51. And so it's gotten out of control. I don't know what the number up to.
I'll see you there. Now. There's a pub crawl over there. I'll be there. I'll see you.
Yeah, but it was like last week or the week before, it was like 400,000 people said they were going. Which
Now it's like 1.7 million.
Yeah, probably. Like, but like the thing is, just think of the logistics of 500,000 people from all over the country traveling to one place on like the same day or within the same couple days. Like, it's going to be a nightmare everywhere.
Yeah, it's like 2-lane roads to go even to that town.
Yeah,
nearby.
it's just it's not going to happen.
They don't even.
It's funny though.
The people that work in Area 51 don't even drive to Area 51. They're all flown in from a
Yeah,
special.
right. Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a special terminal in Las Vegas's McCarran Airport that's just to take people to that facility, actually, and to other government stuff. It's like a secure terminal.
Yeah. So if you're planning on doing it, let me know how it goes.
I'm not going to the base, but I'm going to the meetup. I'll see you guys there. I'll be there.
Where's the meetup?
At the tourist thing outside the
yeah.
place. Yeah. I just think it's going to be cool. And I'm going to get someone else to drive if the pub crawl thing happens. And maybe we'll see some my assumption is that the Air Force is going to put together a nice air show where they'll like light off some aerial fireworks, maybe show off some drones that they're about to declassify anyway. Like, check it out. We were going to wait for the next air show to show off this drone, but we'll just declassify it for you guys. We were going to do it a couple months anyway. And then tents, free water, and merch, Army merch, Air Force merch, some Navy merch too. Who cares? It's the middle of the desert. And they're just going to have clipboards and recruit as many people as they can. Like, you want to go underground, you want to see the aliens, I'll fast track you. We'll get you recruited. You join the Army, join the Air Force, and this is going to be a mass recruiting thing. They're just going to take it over. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the person that made the event originally wasn't like a stealth like recruiter thing all along. So that's my theory.
Should do like a PSYOP campaign and go try to like unrecruit the military.
Oh, that'd be sick. Deprogram.
Like, no, why don't you come raid Area 51 with us, man? You already seen it. You know why we need to raid it.
Yeah.
Don't lie to me. I know there's aliens down there. Yeah, and also there's a new Netflix documentary on Bob Lazar, who was the dude who came out. I think it was about like 30 years ago, and originally like broke the story of Area 51 and had to go public because he was concerned for his life. But it's pretty interesting, and you can just see the dude, and you kind of, it's like, is he just making the whole thing up, and has he been riding this train for like forever? But he also doesn't like the publicity, and has stated that he like didn't like what happened to his life after he went public with the information, and so it's like, oh man, is he
been
embellishing
under the radar
a little
for
bit?
a while? He's only come back a little bit lately.
Yeah, and it's a cycle. Like he comes back like every, it seems like every 10 years or so. There's like another special on him. Someone like wants to get to the bottom of it and find the real truth this time. So, but it's interesting, and it's got like Mickey Rourke doing the narration over it.
How fun!
But like it's Mickey Rourke just like doing like beat poetry about like space and universal consciousness and Area 51 and shit. It's really bizarre, but it really gives it a cool touch. Yeah, it's just cool for that like aesthetic anyway. But
well,
yeah.
we're at the tail end now. Does anyone have any last shout outs? Any recommendations?
Yeah, I mean, drink more tea.
Yeah, definitely do that.
It's a good recommendation. And if you're here in Vegas, there's lots of places to drink tea. You can get in touch with us at Tealet. We're always doing tea parties and tea tastings. People can reach us at info@tealet.com. That's our email, info@tealet.com. And then
Tealet Googles really well too.
Yeah.
You got great SEO. You just type in Tealet, you get there.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how I got the name. I went to a startup weekend to start, my whole thing, and I was working with some developers, and they were like, yeah, you just got to find the URL. That's how it works now. And so we were looking for like 6-character catchy, and Tealet was available. I'm like,
so easy to
heck
remember too.
I'm a Tealet. And so it was kind of cool because our first logo, the font
little
we used,
fairy too.
Oh yeah, our tea fairy. Yeah,
that made
fun.
it. I found this little cute anime looking tea fairy fella as a sticker. I never forgot it. It's still on. Oh, it's
there's one right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still on this laptop.
So yeah, our first logo, the Tealet, looked like it said toilet, and the logo was like a tea bowl with like 3 like deep green like little leaves. They look like little turds falling into the cup.
Takes
so
a couple tries.
It does,
sometimes.
but we put that logo together in like 5 minutes, and it was the startup weekend, which that's also a recommendation is be more entrepreneurial. We're coming upon a leap year, so we can start preparing for that extra 24 hours we have next year.
Oh, that's heavy.
Oh, yeah.
It's one extra day worth of celebrating Black History Month, you guys. That's my favorite thing about leap year is that finally it's one day less extreme of the shortest month to celebrate Black History. Why is it the shortest month? It's so weird. And it's a whole other thing to bring up at the last end of the show. But like, it just seems like a backhanded thing to make February Black History Month. Like, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, where the
I'm outraged about
that stuff happens, but leap years are great. I'm a big fan of leap years. I think they are they're cool cycles, and it's an extra day for us to do some cool shit. So, drink some more tea and stay connected and have good conversations and don't snort matcha.
Yeah, don't snort it. Not just for your gullet, you guys. Throw it down your throat. And be sure to mention RadioVegas.rocks to the sponsor folk, and check out the schedule for the other cool shows going on. But stay tuned. Stay tuned for our 2 coolest dudes coming up next.